So Real Madrid are UEFA Super Cup champions. First game for Mbappe. Kind of just want to give my thoughts. I don't think that they played extremely well. Um, but it's Mbappe's first game. They were outclassed in the first half. I wrote down some notes. So in the first half, I had every forward wanted a one-on-one. It looked like Vinny and Mbappe, and not so much Rodrigo because he's not a 1v1 player or one-on-one player. But it looked like Vinny for sure and Mbappe sometimes. They were just looking to win one-on-one and run past people and throw the ball into the box and have somebody score it. Get on the end of a cross. The midfield was a fucking mess. You saw sometimes they were playing like a 4-1-1-4 with Tchouaméni dropping all the way back. You saw Valverde all the way to the right wing. And then you saw Mbappe and Rodrigo at striker. Then you saw Vinny on the left. And then you had Tchouaméni basically drop in front of the center backs and the full backs. And I don't know. I thought that the first half was fucking awful. Obviously, wasn't their best play. But I would have thought that Valverde would have played a better role as far as like, hey, let me really adopt this number 8 jersey. Let me try to play a little like Toni Kroos just because he's been playing with him for so long. But it wasn't really like that. He was kind of like, I'm going to go drift off, pass me the ball, I'm going to pass it back. And he wanted to play it really quick all the time, and it really just can't be like that. So you saw Jude kind of take over that pace, and he was like, okay, sometimes we're going to play slow, sometimes we're gonna pass it up, and, because nobody was really taking on that role. So we see issues now that this midfield is really young, and they don't really know how to dictate pace, where they want to take the ball, what's going to be the best way to win a game. And I had the best player in the first half being Lookman. Lookman was phenomenal. He played teammates in the space. He made the right pass every time. He was overall did really well. Second half, Ancelotti, I don't know what he said to the boys, but it was a W team talk. He had the midfield stay super tight. Tchouaméni kind of played the same CDM role, kind of deep. Valverde saw him more in the midfield. Jude kind of wandered forward, but he was still, stuck in that midfield. Made sure everybody was kind of playing tight and everybody gave him an option to pass the ball to. You saw Mendy go up. You saw Carvajal be an option. And then speaking of Jude. I mean, dude was everywhere. Dude was doing everything. I mean, as we can tell, Jude, when he's healthy, he's one of the best players in the world. And not just because of his work rate, but because he makes the right decision at the right times. Being 21 years old and being the leader of that midfield at Real Madrid, the biggest club in the world, and understanding that the pressure is not big enough for you. Understanding that you're above that. You are the man you want to be. He obviously models his game after Zinedine Zidane, and he lives up to that name. I saw in the second half that they switched the play more often instead of going back left or Vinny, Mendy, and then whoever was in the middle. Because they fall in love with that left hand side because Vinny is so good at 1v1 situations, and obviously Mendy can afford to make mistakes, and that's why a lot of Real Madrid fans hate Mendy because he does make a lot of mistakes, and he's vulnerable to doing that. He's sometimes he'll make a bad back pass, sometimes he'll put himself in a situation where the defender beats him, or he has to make an ugly foul. And I feel like Atalanta deserved more. 2 defensive mistakes, 2 goals. The one of them was the goalie kicks the ball out. He tries to clear it out. Mendy wins the ball, passes it down to Jude, I believe, and Jude, obviously Vinny gets on the end of it, takes the ball down the wing. Excuse me. Valverde gets open, scores a goal. Luka Modric came on. I feel like the play was lifted a little bit more. Look at the midfield, really kept tight, and the pacing was very well dictated. And yeah, I mean, there's a big decision to be made with who really dictates that pace, because it can't be Jude every single game, because Jude obviously will get tired. His fitness is not all there. Somebody might get injured, just like we had Camavinga get injured the day before the game. Tchouaméni kind of went in and did a job, but like I said, he wasn't really doing that great. He just kind of stayed and helped Militao, because it looked like Militao looked like a different dude coming off his ACL injury. So, and I have Vinny, stop, please. Vinny is a great player. I think he will win the Ballon d'Or this year, but he does too much. He has the tendency to try too hard. He was doing elásticos, he was doing step overs, he was doing, he was going for fancy nutmegs. He would foul people, and then he would be like, I didn't foul him, and then he would get a yellow card. And I think that this year, Vinicius Jr. will have the most red cards he's ever had in his career. I have him having like 5 to 10 red cards. Because dude just doesn't get it. He doesn't get that you can't cry after every foul. I understand that he gets fouled a lot, but he argues too much. He's putting himself in positions to get booked. And they're just dumb yellow cards. We need him. We're going to need him during especially knockout stages in the Champions League. We don't need him to be suspended. Excuse me. So I kind of gave some awards. This was second half. This was my awards. The worst player for me was Federico Valverde. I feel like, maybe I put too much pressure on him, but I feel like he had a lot more of a job. I had him doing a lot more work now that Cruz is gone. Obviously, he scored a goal, but the goal has nothing to do with him. The goal has a lot to do with Vinny, and it has a lot to do with Mbappe. Because if you see that goal, Vinny takes the ball to the end line, and there's a defender at that 6-yard box covering any cutbacks. But since Mbappe is such a threat, Mbappe runs near post, that defender clings on. He's like, Mbappe, you're not getting this ball. So Mbappe comes near post, drags the defender, and Valverde just kind of fills in that space, and Vinny has a straight ball to him. And it made his job really, really easy. And I feel like, Valverde's a workhorse. His job is not to score goals, but I would like to see him not fall in love so much with bombing down the field and, getting in positions to score. I felt like he had a lot of great positions to test the keeper at the edge of the box from time to time, but that's not what I want to see him do. I want to see him, stick a foot in, kind of like Jude was doing. Sticking a foot in, winning the ball when you had to, slow down play. It's not always about scoring goals, getting assists, and obviously he said last year that Ancelotti wants him to score 10 plus goals, and maybe he has that same mindset. But I would love to see him just take a slower role in the midfield, play slower, find the right pass. Take his time. Sometimes I feel like he's too rushed. Moving on, I have unsung hero as Rudiger. I don't know what that dude's on or what he takes before the game, but he's always 150%. You saw him playing number 9, going for through balls. Every header, he's there. Every time Militao messed up, he was there. Every time they needed a clearance, he was there to take it away. And that kind of plays to Atalanta deserving more, because if that one of those balls just falls to the right guy at the right time, they would have won. Tchouaméni, I thought he was a ghost. Don't know where the hell he played, where he was at. I didn't see him all game. I feel like Tchouaméni is such a good defensive mid, but I feel like he kind of gets lost in that shadow of Rudiger and Militao. And Militao didn't have a great game, but Tchouaméni was kind of like, didn't really get on the ball, didn't really have an opportunity to shoot. I feel like he was scared, so he played very, very deep. Maybe it was coach's decision, but weird game from him. We'll see how he plays the rest of the season. And these are kind of like my questions after the game. Rodrigo came off the game came out of the game for I think Luka Modric or maybe Luka Modric, and it kind of looked like he kind of said goodbye. He was like head down, clapping, touching the badge, but it didn't look like happy. It looked more so like this is my last game. I feel like Mbappe has a much tighter connection with Vinny and Jude. Maybe I'm reading too deep into that, but that's what it looked like for me. And obviously, if Rodrigo does go, that's going to be a big missing piece because for me, Rodrigo is a better player than Vinny is. Well, he has a higher of a ceiling because Vinny, like I said, he has too many in-game antics. He gets himself in trouble a lot. Sometimes he does too much. I think his finishing is pretty poor. And Rodrigo, he does all those things that Vinny doesn't have. Rodrigo has them. He's a great finisher. He gets on the end of a ball. He doesn't say anything. He just gets up and plays. He's a kind of a silent leader, whereas Vinny's more of like a hey, let's go. He hypes up the crowd, and Rodrigo's kind of like that calm. He's kind of like Benzema, where he's calm and he doesn't really play into the hype and stuff. And something else, Mbappe needs to hold up the ball better. You would see a lot of time that Jude had the ball and Mbappe was nowhere to be found to hold up the play. And we need him to be a better hold-up player. We need him to unlearn when to make runs, learn when to fall back and help, because everything can't be going forward. Everything that Real Madrid played was always a through ball. We had a lot of balls coming from the back, long balls coming from the back. It was a shit show in the first half, obviously, right? You had Militao, Rudiger sending fucking Hail Marys to Rodrigo and to Vinny and Mbappe, and obviously nothing came from that. And I think they figured it out. And overall, pretty good game. Nothing too crazy. Nothing that really made me super worried, but nothing that made me super excited either. I mean, Mbappe's Mbappe, Jude is Jude, Vinny's Vinny. That the defensive side of the ball, I think that we're okay. Maybe Alaba coming back, hopefully, maybe that'll help out. But Militao looks different off his ACL injury. Rudiger's obviously great. Mendy's good. But I know that we don't have depth for that center back position. Obviously, they brought in Vallejo back. We have Fran Garcia. Who's the right back? Lucas Vasquez, which I like a lot. But those are my thoughts. What did you guys think of the game? Leave a comment down below. If you're new, subscribe, like the video. I appreciate you guys watching the videos, and we'll see you next time.